And we're in.
Okay. Welcome to the Galaxy Brain podcast episode. I don't really know. I don't give a fuck anymore. But
7.
hey, we have another new guest. So introduce yourself or don't.
Hi.
A cop.
Hello, I'm Avenir. I am 20% water, 80% stupidness.
Kicks ass. All right.
Perfect combination for this place, if you know what I'm saying.
That's in the title.
Yeah.
See, so recently I was focusing on, I guess we're going to go into a bit of a serious note already. Yeah, I was browsing Twitter recently, and then I follow a bunch of accounts, and I follow this sort of dead account of a dude who did the Knuckles raps from like Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure 1. He's 100% Ed P, as he likes to be called sometimes. Apparently, he was never paid by Sega to do the raps for the soundtrack of the Sonic games at all, which I think is well, it's kind of bullshit, obviously, and kind of blows. Apparently, he's also been in this since like 2017, but no one has been paying attention at all. And I think it like 2 podcast episodes ago, we had like a similar topic with how Mick Gordon has kind of been getting short end of the stick.
Although it wasn't like
hired for.
It wasn't really like refusing his pay, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's different. His case, in Hunted's case, it's more like he's just getting cheated, but in Gordon's case, it's more like just bad luck, I guess.
How so?
That's mostly like pretty big games like Mortal Kombat 11. He was considered for the soundtrack, but he was rejected because they didn't like his music. That got some people mad.
Yeah, pretty much that was the case. And then for Doom Eternal, he kind of did new tracks, but they were remastered by somebody else, and basically they sounded dog shit compared to the tracks that he remastered himself.
Did he ever get any of the pay for that?
I mean, yeah, he did get paid, but it's just that he has like terrible luck in this industry, and like the thing with the not being accepted to like various, places where he could actually make good money for making kick-ass music. Then Bethesda just throws his skills out of the window, saying, "Hey, we can do better than you," and then they proceed to fuck up his tracks, which, by the way, have amazing depth if you listen to them. Stereo balance, etc. What the fuck? Am I Mexican?
I've listened to like some Mick Gordon, and I like most of his stuff, but I think the only thing from Doom 2016 soundtrack that I've heard is his version of At Doom's Gate, which I don't think I like as much as the original. But I think the only reason I don't like it is because I'm always gonna compare it to the original.
Yeah, that's really the only reason why. I mean, the track on its own is fine, but you listen to the MIDI one, and okay, I don't think a MIDI track is like good to compare to it. But, there's this guy Andrew Holsholt who has been like really getting a lot of fucking business opportunities in the video game industry, and once upon a time he made a remaster of At Doom's Gate. And I think that's kind of what people wanted this remaster to sound like. Like, we could link it in the description, I guess. Because, like, comparing the midis from, like, 90s, that's probably a bad comparison. I think it's better off if we just compare it to...
It would be a bad comparison. MIDIs are usually used as like placeholders for music. That's sort of what Zoom did in the original Toho projects. because like he didn't have the right requirement or equipment rather to like make what he wanted, so he just used midis, and they were terrible for at least like 5 to 6 years, but eventually they got good, and that's sort of the point.
Yeah, I
Especially,
mean, yeah.
MIDIs
MIDIs,
are good for like establishing a basic melody or tune.
they're
yes.
still used actually, like in many various programs. And
There
very
is some
specific.
stuff I want to say about this, but I might have to save it for later, perhaps. For like way later, not even on the podcast, but just for a video in general. But basically, it just has to do with a creator or a certain creator's MIDI for a game he made that I gotten into contact with.
No, that sounds fine. I'm interested to hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Especially since like you also like talked to the voice actor of Sniper from TF2, and it was kind of an amazing opportunity that you had.
Really? He did?
Yeah.
I did.
Tell
Met
us
him
how
at a
that.
convention, and his wife too. Voice of GLaDOS.
Actually, I don't know if I've met any voice actors in my life.
I mean, neither. I usually just like I don't even know who the voice actors are for most games. For
Yeah, a
anything.
lot of people don't, because like it's not really something that you really think about unless like it's sort of your thing.
Yeah.
Like if you hear someone's voice over and over and it becomes familiar to you, you sort of like seek out for it and you find out who the person is behind it, or like if there's a particular like performance that you liked, then
Yeah, I think that there was this like one video with the voice of Snake from Metal Gear, and like the guy was just talking normally. I don't exactly remember what it was, but at some point he just like smoothly switched to his Snake voice, and he just fucking killed everybody. Wish I
man,
had the
I
link
love
for
that.
that.
I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought there.
Yeah,
um,
it's fine.
yeah, meeting voice actors is a very like, I guess, liberating experience. Cause like, from chats I've had with like people I know or like people that I just meet, they usually like come up with ideas of what the voice actor looks like based off of their role, and it becomes really surprising whenever it like defies that, such as like Ash Ketchum's English voice actor. Like, you hear this young male voice and he's like at the like breaking point of puberty, and like you're thinking maybe this is a young boy, but you meet the voice actor and it's a woman. And
Probably
like
in her
it takes
60s.
yeah, oh yeah, I've seen a video of her doing the voice acting for like I think Pokemon Moon, and like she's just this sweet like old white lady. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like it's not what you would expect for this Ash Ketchum as a character.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like
Yeah. I think like older women are often used for like boy characters, and it sometimes works, but I mean, women don't usually spend their time voicing boys, so it's like it's not completely authentic. But if you use like an actual boy actor to voice a boy, eventually they're going to grow up and their voice is going to change. It happened to
Yeah.
Steven Universe, for example, and Finn as well. Adventure Time.
I think in the case of Steven, that's really odd in a sense, because I think Zach Callison, his voice actor, was around like 17 to 18 whenever he started. I lost my sense of time, so I'm gonna assume it's like 2012, and he's in his like mid 20s now, and like Steven, of course, doesn't follow that sort of drastic age gap. It's sort of like from 12 to 16, but like Zach Callison's voice goes through like that puberty, and so like if you listen to the first episode versus like the very last episode, since it just ended like 2 months ago, there's a drastic difference. And I agree with the point that like a woman can really do it well, but I think in like Ash's case, because he never really grows up. Like, it's perfect because, there's no aging sense in it. And eventually, like, if you had the voice actor start as a child like 20 years ago, they're going to be like 20 years old in the future, and they probably A, won't be able to do that like baby voice, or B, like they'll be too old to like have the same voice that would have like Ash Ketchum's character.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me wonder, because I know that like Mickey Mouse's voice is like very easy to do, and I wonder how easy it is for like anybody to do at all. Because like I know that a lot of people can easily try to like parody it in some way. I'm not sure about Goofy, but definitely like Mickey Mouse.
How easy to do it like authentically?
Yeah, like Jesus.
I think you're gonna demonstrate how hard it actually is.
Yeah, please demonstrate for us.
Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Fuck. I swear it sounded better like
It's
2 years
not
ago.
that easy.
I think Goofy's more doable actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Goofy is a lot more doable because he has
When I
like
mean it's gonna be harder over voice anyway because you're hearing a distorted version of your voice and not your true voice. So
yeah. Goofy has like a more natural cadence. You might hear somebody that talks similar to Goofy. If you went to like the outstretches of the world, then yeah, you might find somebody who talks similar to Goofy. But I don't think you would find someone that has a voice similar to Mickey Mouse. It was like staged, as it usually is.
Goofy is not home, Mickey. He was taken by those alien bastards again. Well, I can't do Mickey, but I can do Duke Nukem at the very least. Oh man. I wonder if we'll ever have a resurgence after Forever. I know that is like kind of an old topic talking about Duke Nukem Forever. But man, like it would be kind of fun if he like has some sort of rebirth. I know there was this like mod that was being built, but it was kind of like a reconstruction of Duke Nukem 3D. So I'm not exactly sure about that. Because we already played this game. And I'm skeptical against like re-releases or something, but to get it. Some new adventures for Duke. I don't know, kicking Dr. Proton's ass again, or again.
people would be into that for sure.
Well, I am for one.
Something I was thinking about yesterday is I was watching this of those videos that compiles all of the super attacks of certain fighting games, but in this case, I was watching one for Naruto Ultimate Ninja, the first one, so it's like the oldest one, and I noticed that they compressed the hell out of every single line, most of the lines anyway, that got sort of compressed in some way. It kind of sounds like shit, which I don't remember. I mean, it sounds jank as hell. But I think voice actors also weren't really into it or something, or at least some of them weren't. But another cool thing, I think, is that kind of love these little anime tie-in games because they always try to include something special for like the fans. And first Ultimate Ninja kind of takes such huge deviations from the source material that they basically make shit up for like the special attacks, but it's really cool what they make up because it's often like based off of something at least. You got something like Naruto for like his best attack gets helped by the fourth Hokage, and they didn't. It's really weird because like years later they planned on having fourth Hokage be like Naruto's father, but he's just helping him for no reason, like he's back from the dead or something. There's also some made-up attacks that were interesting because like they essentially were put into the manga like a few months later. I'm not sure if like got told of what's going to happen in the manga soon, or if they made it before the manga even did, or but
You know, it
I
depends
feel
if
like
they're like in the exact same form, I guess. But
there could be a
anyway,
chance that they like derived the attacks in the manga from the game. I can't remember a time where I've seen that.
yeah, me
It's
neither.
something that happens sometimes.
Yeah, like if you
sometimes other media inspires like canon, and it's really weird.
Hmm.
yeah, like if you see like a book and like I don't know a movie is released for it, I don't know, like not a one-to-one adaptation, but more so something like more original. I don't know. You don't really see that with books either, or with anything at all. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense here, but then again, no,
Like
not.
intermediate adaptation.
Yeah, like
It's not always.
imagine you take something that's not from source material, like. What? Okay, I'm just having a brain freeze now.
Yeah, you need to get your galaxy brain back.
It's in another galaxy.
Mm, I'm not sure if I agree with that play there.
Jesus
No,
Christ. Oh,
there are proven sort of like, what would the word be? Like correlations and adaptations between like media. Um, I guess an example I can give at least is like Splatoon, because that's what I've been playing like since the end of March.
oh,
I
that's
can't
excellent.
it's been a healthy obsession. But if I recall correctly, which this may totally be inaccurate information, I'll have to look up on this later. Some of the like designs from the Korika manga, I'm forgetting my words here. They like influenced some of the newer like hairstyles and like gear that were in Splatoon 2. Um, and so if you like look between the two, there may be like a few unique hairstyles, maybe like 1 to 2, but most of it will be pretty familiar, if not like derivatives of those hairstyles. And it kind of gives like, oh, there's like more to this game than like just this like squid girl with like one hairstyle and the squid boy with another hairstyle. And arguably, like as new chapters of the manga come out and hopefully introduce other like ideas and content, the games will future like reflect that in the future. Though nobody really knows if Splatoon 3 is going to come out or if we're just going to keep getting patches. And like as of now, I believe, since there's a like revived Splatfest coming up, I don't think Nintendo has any plans for that. So they're kind of
I
like,
think I heard about the manga inspiring the game in some ways before.
I
I
did
think
it.
I read a
yeah,
few chapters as well.
I did it. But it sounds cool, to be honest, because like I don't really hear that often of like big studios. Is that the right word? Corporations, whatever, taking ideas from like spin-off material, I guess, because that's pretty cool, you know. I kind of
hmm
like that. It's like kind of like acknowledging your fans, but not really your fans, but also your fans. Again, I don't like if
your
people makes
fans just put it under the umbrella.
yeah, okay, that works. Which like makes me wonder, kind of, how many times have you guys ever seen like people cater to their fans in like any sort of media?
A lot
No,
happens a
I
lot.
mean like when they introduce a fan idea into their own story or something like that.
See, I'm not one to follow many media, uh, partially as a product of me being like slightly self-centered and invested in my own things, and partially because like I don't know how to explore outside of my rock in the sea. But I've seen a few cases, maybe not like specifically adding fan content into it, but like sort of opening the idea of like, oh, how about I let the fans sort of like move into this game? Like I remember with Undertale, what Toby Fox did was like the So Sorry secret boss. I think it was a kid's. I'm pretty sure it was a Make a Wish thing. I don't remember the story clearly because I read it up like years ago. But basically, like this kid uh, or a fan or a kid donated like $1,000 to the project, and like Toby Fox decided, hey, I'm gonna do something for you. Like, give me a character so I can put it in the game. And like, I find that really neat. Like, whenever creators or like developers put like fan content into their game, or they at least acknowledge it in a sense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen like smaller artists and like comic authors, like they take maybe fan characters that like people have made for them, and then like they pay homage to them in some way. Like a good example I've seen was like the Amazing World of Gumball, where they like paid homage to all the stupid fan fictions that were made between like the characters, and like they covered the weirdest taboos and everything, but like they sort of just like, you know, gave a little nod to them, like, hey, we see what you're doing here.
Gumball is like a curious case.
Can think of a few examples as well. Avion does not really watch Dragon Ball, but he did watch the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, which is a big example of what he's talking about.
Yeah, and I didn't notice any of these references because that was my first contact with Dragon Ball.
Really?
I think most of the references come from like camera shots from the original film being replicated, but Broly himself is like a fan favorite character, so he was reintroduced into the true canon, and people love the movie, so there's that. I think one debatable example, I'm not entirely sure if it's actual example, is in Persona 4 Golden. There's a new social link with this lady Marie, and during one of them you eat steak with her, and then she makes a reference to a popular parody comic for Persona 4 where she kind of dissects the meaning of the words, or the meaning of the word steak in Japanese, the specific type they were eating. She says that it should be called F steak, which is a reference to steak, which is a meme in the community. Not entirely sure if it is an intended reference, though, because it might be just a translator's book or something.
And I'm not really sure if like I did notice something like that. I probably did. I just can't get it off the top of my head. But like
Team Fortress 2 has a lot of that
I was about
stuff.
to say that. Fuck you.
Oh.
Yeah, if Team Fortress, it's a good example with like the Steam Workshop and everything, you know. And one of the nice features of this is that although like I'm not really sure how many like cosmetics are making it into the game, there was this one like item called the Spy Crab, and I don't need to explain anything more, I guess, because everyone knows what the Spy Crab is. But it's just such a neat little thing to add into the game. It's even if it's like minor as hell, you acknowledge a meme that spawns somehow, and it's kind of a cute thing too. Too bad I don't own it. Damn.
Sometimes they can be like a bit too much. Like I think Sonic the Hedgehog has sort of built their entire brand off of these types of memes, and it gets a little annoying when all they're doing is just like self-deprecating the worst parts of their franchise all the time.
Oh yeah, like at that point you really can't take it seriously. Like there's sort of like a threshold to it, like there's a threshold to everything, and like maybe 1 to 2 nods at it is fine, but I agree with like Sonic just went down the shitter.
Yeah, but I guess that's like, well, at least they are somewhat acknowledging it, even if they are doing way too much. It's kind of like you talked about like Gumball in a moment ago, and I'm not quite sure what to. I didn't watch Gumball that much. I did see some clips. Clips from like clips. I'm not sure if I can call them clips because I saw them on TV, but no, not really a full episode. Either way, I watched it like several years ago on a TV in my sister's room once or
Yeah.
twice, and the other time I watched it like I don't know several months ago maybe in my own room on my own TV. And now that they kind of, I know that it has been like there's a huge like time span gap or something. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not really sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but like before Gumball wasn't really filled with that much references, right? Like it kind of makes sense that it wasn't because like the fanfictions and shit couldn't really spread.
Yeah, it used to be just a more normal show, but it
Yeah.
was like it was a bit more lame, like its first season or so.
It sort of did like a de-evolution for the like betterment of its franchise. Because like I get there probably wouldn't be good reception to such a show, especially if they're trying to get like more serious. Uh, what would the word be? Like more serious shows on it. And I'm sorry. Um, you made me lose my train of thought. I'm sorry. At first, I guess like they wanted to appear as like a normal show, but sort of as like time went on and the fan base grew, it became a lot more random. And I guess the episodic like aesthetic to it, it was like a little bit boring at first, maybe like slightly charming, but as like time went on, you sort of like got invested and you're kind of like you're leaving yourself after an episode with like, do I want to continue or like am I done torturing my mind for today? And like after watching that episode that I referenced earlier, I was sort of left with the latter option of like I think I'm done torturing myself for today because like it was a lot to handle within like 20 minutes.
Like the biggest like difference I noticed between like the first episodes and the episode that I have seen recently was fucking Anime Nicole. Which, like kind of surprised me, I didn't know they would put anime into Gumball.
They did it more than once too. Different studios and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few other examples, but a lamer one I had it's another bad example, but Yu-Gi-Oh likes to reference its old memes, but they like to do it way, way, way too late.
Oh,
So I think
God.
one of their
What you're
accounts
talking about.
one of their accounts recognized like the "What does Pot of Greed do" meme, and it was kind of annoying. Grown
Yeah,
worthy than funny.
it's better in the moment. Like
Yeah.
way better.
Some people, like artists, don't really realize that when they first put like a shitload of memes into their work because they're like having fun, and I get it, kind of, but there's like kind of no forethought put into it because
Mhm.
after like a month or two, the memes you put into your I don't know story or whatever are gonna get stale, man. When they get stale, nobody's going to laugh at them the same way you did a few months back. Which,
That's why you have to form your own memes.
yeah, don't use the mainstream memes. I mean, I believe personally that those can form naturally, like my comic, for example.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I love to use it. There's the no kills you panel, which people somehow like loved, and it blew up for some reason. Like, I'm not popular. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I didn't expect that, and then I was making other panels that I expected would be more like memes, but that didn't exactly happen. So I'm just gonna say that if you wanna create a meme, don't create a meme. Don't think about it. Don't even subconsciously try to do it. And you will succeed eventually.
Well, like it sort of comes in like randomized bursts, I guess.
Randomized births?
Bursts.
But okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just go on.
Don't make fun of my speech impediment.
No, I'm not making fun of that.
So like personally, as like a pseudo creator myself with like 2 unfinished works and many more, I think that like adding humor or like memes to whatever you're creating is a good idea. And like as we stated before in such aggressive words, like don't follow the mainstream, just follow your own shit. I see a lot of people shoehorn it into a way that's like superficial.
Oh,
That's how it works. Like I know many people who are making like comic stuff, and oftentimes whenever they're not following a plan, they're like, I'm gonna insert X meme, X trope, all that so that people can laugh. And I'm like, that's not really how you should do it, because it's gonna become stale, or like people are like gonna have that fly over their head because it won't like cater to their like humor.
yeah.
And I in my personal philosophy, which I don't believe to be the truth, it's just how I go by things, is that like you can have like a certain character, certain like few characters, or maybe a dynamic to be exact, that like can play off and give that edge of humor. I personally have that in like 2 different angles, and like from there maybe something stupid will sprout when maybe you otherwise didn't expect it, such as like my character Jitsuko. People latched onto the idea that she didn't wear pants.
Oh yeah,
And, like,
I remember that.
Yeah, I solely added that because it was fitting to her character. She's very like athletic and also like very stupid. She's the most bastard human you could get in like 300 years. But like I sort of just like played around with it. I joked about it myself because like it's a stupid idea. Like why wouldn't someone wear pants with like their military uniform? But everybody sort of like huddled around this idea, and they're like, "Oh God, this is the funniest thing I've heard in my life." And like immediately from there, if I was popular enough, there would probably be like a flood of memes of just like society has progressed like past pants, which already is a meme, but like it would just be a reiteration of it.
I mean, that's not wrong. I mean, we kind of don't need pants anymore. But
Don't talk about politics on this podcast, just so you know.
All right.
Monkey, please let us mention the issues in the world once, for once at least. There are people out there who don't have pants, and they're already more advanced than us. They're the superhumans of this world. Do you understand how powerful Jitsuko is? You understand?
I mean, her entire character is just the world's dumbest powerhouse. Like, and that's a good character trope if done right, which in most cases it's not done right. I'm probably not doing it right.
If you mean it like in like a cliche way, that I don't have any examples. Sorry. Can you give me an example?
I can't think of any examples in like pop culture. I'm only thinking of like people I met through Discord, and that's sad.
Oh yeah. Usually, like when I like, I remember like reading some stories on DeviantArt. Now that you mentioned Discord.
Oh
my. Well, I mean that site should say everything, but I'm gonna say that when you write for fun is all right, but some people just don't know whether they write for fun or not. They just kind of do stupid shit, get really, 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 really excited for that one character having like Z cups, or I don't know, not wearing underwear under their wear.
Did you just say Z cups?
Yes, Z cups. Like Z size. Okay. Yeah, this. I'm not going to mention the word breasts.
Cup sizes. And you
but
can.
Like, things like that, yeah.
Yeah, and people kind of just do that. And I mean, again, as I said, if you just do it for fun, then it's like, okay, but those people legit share it around. And then when you ask them, hey, wait, this is not very good, but I'm gonna tell you why, they're going like, no, it's not supposed to be good, okay? I'm just being horny. And what the fuck is your point,
Yeah.
honestly? They just go like that.
No, I know who Avion is talking about, which is also pretty funny. No one else knows, just me.
Okay. Call out post apparently. Thanks.
No,
Abs.
no, we don't do call outs here. I'm sorry. I mean, that person's probably not
I
gonna.
mean, yeah, we're mostly talking about like sort of like weeaboo OC type of
Oh,
person
yeah,
who
I
clings
know
to their OCs and their original universes. Then they want to get into serious storytelling, not realizing that their story really sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mhm.
And
Like a
Mr.
sore nipple.
Starblade
I got him.
Maru Man will not fit in at all.
Yeah, okay. So I wouldn't say that like their purpose is doing it to be bad. I believe for some people it's sort of like for like relatability is the best way I can put it, like marketing or relatability. Like I know some people in the vast hellholes of Discord, which I say that in the most endearing way. Like they have certain tropes played out, such as like they have a quote unquote diverse like cast of characters when really it's just like 10 white people, one black person, and they have it so that like
Oh.
they have it so that like they don't get canceled by people on Twitter, or like they have you know tits next to like her lolly best friend, for diversity reasons, or like, wanting people to like be able to relate to the characters more. And like, I don't have a problem with that, but like, can you just not share it as if like you're doing something amazing?
Yeah, that's kind of the main point, because it's kind of there's nothing to share at all, and if you share it, you're kind of expecting people to like it for some reason. But if you just claim it's bad, then there's really not a reason for them to like it at all. And
Well, this was a example that was brought up is a bit different, but it's sort of the same principle.
What?
oh, and another thing is that when people decide, this is more like you could have not seen this happen before, because this kind of sometimes happens in the versus community. It's those people that talk about which character could beat another character. It's
Oh my god!
death battle and stuff. Yeah,
Oh
that
my
Yeah,
god!
sounds so excited.
Yeah, there are the people that are like that. They plan out the power levels of their OCs and stuff, and like
Yeah,
their
yeah,
actual story, and it gets really dumb because like plan like 20 books, 20 different sagas and character arcs, and like my character has concept manipulation, all immortality and
your
regeneration. Like
yeah.
they can like destroy 20 multiverses by thinking or something.
You can manipulate your skeleton inside your body. You're now mine, bitch. Everyone has a skeleton inside their body.
They're never allowed to think.
Most
because
powerful
they destroy
character.
multiverses.
But yeah, that's basically also annoying. It's kind of like it also doesn't make for a good story, but for a different reason, and that is those people just focus mostly on that when nobody really cares, and the feats of strength, rather impressive shit that comes out of this. They could have as well just written it in the story, I mean, it still wouldn't be like the best if they tried to just shove it in. Hey, this guy busted a nut over the universe and could kill it immediately. But at least
I think
they would have it in the story,
I think a way that like that could be well played, because I know a lot of people cling on to that because like they personally want to be strong, and so through their characters they like have those traits. I feel like a way for that to like not be so like is sort of like turning that like supposed impossible strength into what would be like a weakness, you know? And not in this like, oh, it's like catastrophe, blah blah blah. Like, this makes my life difficult and I hate it. I really don't want to bust a nut over the world. I just want to be a normal guy. And like,
I want to impregnate all women in the Milky Way just by
yeah,
stroking
yeah.
their dick once.
And like I enjoy whenever people, like, especially like inexperienced writers, play with that sort of like principle. Um, Not in the sense of like taking things such as like, someone's natural ability and turning it into like, prejudice weakness kind of thing, but something like stupid, whereas like maybe a character's way too confident, and like that ends up being very detrimental to their like entire person. But like instead of like turning them into some sort of like cynical, nervous, like, self-deprecative human being, like it turns them into like somebody who's like, yo, what the hell is happening? How do I fix this? But I'm still the greatest human on earth. And
Yeah,
like,
I kind of
I
like
don't know.
these ideas, you know? It's like, it's not exactly like a deconstruction of a character, it's more so like playing with the trope of somebody being fuck off strong. And I think I just had like the idea of this working, because like it's just an idea, you know? You can use it probably. There's a
Oh
superhero.
no, I've already been using it.
Hmm.
That principle.
No, but I mean, yeah. I had like this idea, like just like you brought it up just a moment ago, and I just wanted to say it. It's like there's a superhero who's like, super strong. Everybody knows him for that, and the fact that everybody knows him for that is his greatest weakness. Like all
Oh
the
yeah.
villains just ran away from him, and he's like, "What the fuck can I do about it?" And well, he can't do much about it because he's visible from like 20 miles away, wearing like those hot rod pants. It's kind of like
And that makes for a very good like reverse slice of life story, because like you'll have this guy, like the superhero, and he or she is like trying to figure out like, what am I supposed to do, since like I can't fulfill my purpose since all the villains run away, like. And you'll have them struggling with daily life. Maybe they're like trying to hug a person that they went on a date with and they accidentally like crush their bones. Like, it wouldn't be a super serious story, but like it would be really good to like get to a lot of people and like make them laugh. And I think
yeah.
rather than making a serious story, you would rather want to make something that's memorable, you know?
Mm-hmm. Because I was thinking about this because like when I like read One Punch Man, Saitama like his greatest strength is not just him being super strong; it's also his enemies being overconfident and not even knowing who he is.
Yeah, oh my god. That's why I love One Punch Man.
Yeah, me too. It's like this bald guy just comes up to you and says, "Yo, what's up, man? Why are you stepping on my lawn?" And the
Who's
big
this
fuck off
Caillou looking
monster.
dude?
Huh?
Who's this Caillou looking dude?
Yeah. Yeah, just Saitama is like perfect because he's like not cynical at all, but he's just done with everyone's shit in a way.
Hmm.
He's beyond the point of caring about anything.
Oh
No,
yeah,
not at all, because he has some character development here and there, which like I mean, for a character like this, it's kind of necessary, I guess, because then you have somebody like Lucky Luke who is also used well like him. Because if you like read Lucky Luke and One Punch Man, the differences are clear. Different settings, different like power levels, I guess. But both
Lucky
characters,
Luke is more of like a Popeye type or a Hercules, I guess, where his power is exaggerated, except it's also like a cowboy tail, so
yeah.
cowboy tall tail.
But the
yeah.
like the similarities between the two are that Lucky Luke and Saitama are used very sparingly in the story. Like at first, you have them show up a lot because the story is about them. Like why wouldn't you show them? Then it turns out they're super strong, and the authors realize that. So instead of like going, "Hey, we're just gonna repeat the same joke all over again for like 2,000 issues," they
Hmm.
decide to give the spotlight to other characters, like the Dalton brothers for Lucky Luke, where they're like, I think they even had their own comic issue because Lucky Luke, Lucky Luke is just very strong. There's not much to his character beyond that. So the Alders use that to their advantage. Just
I
same
think
for
Lucky Luke also has the advantage of since he has like impossible feats of strength, like being able to outshoot his own shadow. That's another thing that's sort of lost to time, I guess, is sort of mythological level of feats where there's these whimsical little things that we see every day, and there is just an ordinary guy who can overcome them. Like, be Hercules can lift the sky up or something. So that's the kind of stuff you don't see. You see a much more mechanical level of strength, especially in those bad stories we were talking about, like, destroy a planet, destroy a star, destroy a universe, or like anything
for
physical.
your mom.
Something. It's never like the impossible, vague, whimsical stuff like like outshooting your own shadow.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a cool ability. I mean, fuck. Now, the only question is, does Lucky Luke come faster than his own shadow? Because that's kind of important.
I don't think that's important.
Why no? Well, I thought you would answer it at least.
Anything come out if the shadow does it?
The shadow.
They're just like shadow. It's like all shadow coming out.
No, not in this way. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. We are not talking about Lucky Luke's speed and bad, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not.
I'm talking
comparing
about his
that.
shadow speed. That's what I'm talking about.
You good?
I'm sorry. I just had a ribcage piercing my ribcage.
Oh, a rib cage piercing your rib cage.
It's a weird feeling, really, but sometimes when I try to breathe air in, it feels like my ribcage is piercing my lungs. I don't know why, but it just happens sometimes. It's just fucking annoying. And I have to breathe in a lot in order to get rid of that feeling, which I think moves my very sharp ribs against my lungs for several minutes. Which hurts.
Rib stab.
Yeah. Yeah. Bone manipulation. This is the strongest power, as they said, because there's no person in the world that doesn't have a skeleton.
Bone hurting juice.
No. Well, actually, You know,
Well, like, so skeleton.
you were cut off. Say it again.
So skeletons. What about those?
Those?
Skeletons are scary.
Both? Those? Those or
I'm
both?
repeating it. Fuck it.
The original Gundam pilots were skeletons. Come at me.
Thank you. Thank you. There are some people out there that don't want to tell you what they just said, which I think we all have a right to receive information that we want to receive. What's your penis size?
Okay.
Bro.
Yeah.
On another topic, the only thing that is worse right now than the current pandemic is the pandemic of Animal Crossing. Why I bring that up is because the other day I discovered that Wendy's, the lovely fast food chain restaurant with a pig-tailed mascot who was the face of a dumb meme, they're streaming Animal Crossing, and
Oh.
why I find that very peculiar is one, it's a like fast food chain playing a video game. Like that's the only
Yeah.
time you've ever like seen that in the mainstream. It's like with KFC's dating simulator.
Yeah, how are they gonna fit their entire staff into the room with the computer? Like, holy shit.
They
How many
have one
people are
person
playing?
running it. I
No, they
believe, but, like,
don't.
there's
Why do you think they're a fast food chain? Because they have only one worker supplying everyone with food?
no. Like there's one person playing the game, but there's like, people who are like watching the chat or doing like moderation.
I understand. Okay, just move on.
But like I've only watched maybe like 10 minutes of the streams overall. Like I get a notification, but I'm like, do I really want to watch like Wendy's play Animal Crossing when I could be playing it myself? But like what I find great is that they're using it as one of the most clever marketing campaigns, because like we've all noticed that like all of the advertisements around us have been like sort of catering to the COVID-19 stuff, like all these hard times and like we have to stay indoors, all of that stuff.
Stay
What Wendy's
home,
is doing
motherfucker, or I'm going to shoot up your family.
what Wendy's is doing is they're like with every single stream they're adding some kind of new promotion, like get some $1 chicken nuggets from the app, or like buy 4 burgers for you and your international friends as you watch this Animal Crossing stream.
Wait, that's actually fucking clever. Like, imagine
really
if you could. Imagine that you can win a fucking chicken nugget, one single chicken nugget on the stream.
Well, I don't think it would be just one chicken nugget, but maybe like a single order of like 4 chicken nuggets, because that's what Wendy's likes to do. They like to give you everything in 4.
It's better than those emotional type commercials where the entire formula is basically, oh, more than ever, we are here for you. We will allow you to buy our products.
Yeah, I'm fucking sick of this shit. Every single fucking time I turn on the TV, I see this sad music. People sitting around in their homes, like the actors, they're not people. And they just smile, and the narrator goes like, he goes like, he goes to my house and beats me with a fucking baseball bat, because that's how much he wants to get the point across. He goes to my home and just beats me up until I get it.
Mhm.
I kind
Much of it is in Polish.
Well, see, there's this thing about Poland that I didn't tell anyone. We have this one narrator here, and he's awesome, but he's also literally fucking everywhere. You hear him in the advertisements, you hear him in the movies, you hear him. Where the fuck do you not hear him is the real question, because I don't know how this is possible, how one man can voice so much shit. Perhaps it's because he's popular, because he voices shit, but I don't even know his name. And he's everywhere. And I know that there are some countries that do have this kind of stuff with one narrator just voicing everything, but I'm not sure if that's the case in other countries. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's because like I don't know, he's iconic.
I don't know why he's
I
iconic.
think if you can get an iconic voice role, then you will always have work.
Yeah.
There's also Fred's voice actor from Scooby-Doo who almost always voices the character. Not always, but like most of the time.
Oh yeah, him.
Doing it for decades.
Yeah, there's also like as many people have like called out sort of like amazingly that like Funimation rotates like the same 20 to 30 voice actors, and that's just because like they're really good at their job, and also like their voices are iconic, and so like there's almost like a sense of connection where it's like, hey, that little bastard that played Eren Yeager now plays this other little bastard.
Yeah. That's not bad at all.
Sometimes that can be cool, but other times it's like it can get kind of annoying when these big voice actors like give little voice actors advice when in reality they just have it like the most easy because they were lucky enough to find their way in.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they have jobs, they just don't really need to give a shit. It's not like they are looking for jobs. It's more like the jobs are looking for them. So
Yes, yes. That's pretty much how any like creative industry works in a sense. Like obviously it's a race for like the best of the best, and like if you already have the circle who like may have a few slots open in their schedule, you're gonna like yoink them rather than like look for inexperience whenever that could potentially be a waste of time. Um,
which is kind
and
of
like
sad,
yeah,
because
it's very sad.
it's like you never really can give these young people, new people, uh, inexperienced people a chance because you're afraid they will fuck up. And then you have those sure bets that already have like a lot of money probably, and you could like, I don't know, you could have a different voice for sure. That you you know you just hire the one that's a sure bet, I guess. It sucks.
Sometimes there's this usually only happens in like acting rather than voice acting, but sometimes there's those actors that just get one role and they're basically just set. I guess one example that comes to mind is Mark Hamill. A lot of people know him as Luke Skywalker, but then he also plays a lot of villains voice acting, which I think people are always surprised to hear what kind of villains he's played because mostly just know him as Luke. Or another
Oh.
example, Leonard Nimoy, Spock. People also know him as Galvatron, but not as much. Galvatron from the G1 Transformers cartoon, the movie.
Or Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal also appears in every movie and always does this one character of a of a guy. A guy.
Guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy.
Thank you for sharing.
There's certain people that have like certain voices that like they fit a certain role that like a lot of people have, and a good example of like one of these is like Jennifer Hale. She did Femship, and like her role basically in maybe 2 words is like the hot army lady, which isn't 2 words, it's more like 4. But my point comes across, like there's people who have these special voices that do these special roles that like people often don't deviate from in popular media, nor do they really do in like local media, to be honest with you. But like um most of the time, a lot of creators and like a lot of big studios really do not want to hunt for like unique people. And so they'll be like, here, we have this character. She's a military lady. She's probably gonna like, put you through some CBT if you like fuck with her. Who are we gonna voice her? Or who's gonna voice her? Jennifer Hale. There's gonna be no openings for that. And like sort of ties back to the whole like rotation thing between voice actors, because like basically within that like little pantheon of like people, there's every single role that you could all like ever imagine taken account of, if not like extra ones that could be done by like one person. um and theater follows a similar thing. Like that's why you'd see many people like doing multiple roles, which to the audience looks stupid, but like in terms of production, it saves money, it saves time, and
Yeah,
it
of
gives
course.
somebody something to do at all points.
I mean, I would also want to save money. I don't need to hire 20 different people to do one role. So, like, yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Like, kind of, I wonder if there's a good way to, like, seek out the potentially good and fresh meat in the voice actors industry. Because I, like, kind of tried to Google for voice actors that would voice, well, my characters. Potentially, I'm not a rich man. I'm not going to hire anyone for shit. I'd rather they would do it free for me. Because I'm an important person, apparently, and I deserve everything for free. But damn, it was really hard to find somebody who would, like, fit right in the margin where the characters are good. I mean, the voice is good, and kind of wonder there was, like, a way to find somebody that would work. Because I mean, I
Fits,
could look
like-
amongst the popular ones, but
Like their voice fits the character perfectly.
yeah, like I don't know how
Yeah.
do you imagine my characters. I do imagine like Jitsuko. Well,
Oh boy, you're gonna be surprised.
yeah, I'm probably gonna be surprised. But actually I didn't imagine her voice up until this point, but now that I think of it, I imagine it like as kind of like sort of deep and also rather energetic in a way.
Mm-mm.
Even though she yeah, just go on. How do you imagine it?
I think
Yeah.
I've imagined some of like Avion's characters a specific way, but when I'm asked what I think they sound like, voice goes away, so I can't really describe them at all. I think that's just more of a general thing, but did send Avion how I imagine Ioka. Uh,
Oh.
I used like specific lines as well, and I believe Avion said that he sort of hears it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've also thought about like the voice of my own characters, and I have like a playlist of like singers who I think would fit specifically. And like, singing isn't a very good like example, but
You're
not a
gonna
lot of
make a musical. I know what you're thinking. The
I'm
American
not
Dream.
gonna make a musical. Not yet, at least. That would be a
That
very
could kick
difficult
ass.
thing to do. Uh, eh. Anyways, like I've personally been thinking about like singers, but also something you can do, especially if you're like a con hopper, as some of my friends are or used to be. Um, if you like find a certain voice actor that if you find a certain voice actor that like you are a fan of or like you think might fit, you can actually like pay them maybe like I don't know below $100 depending on who it is, and like be like, hey, do you want to read this line? And they'll probably read it for you in like whatever voice they can do or like whatever voice they're best at. And that's something that I've personally been considering doing. Like I kind of just want to go to conventions, hunt down certain like voice actors I like, such as like Aaron Fitzgerald or like Sarah Williams, who I adore greatly for their work in Skullgirls. And like I just want to hunt them down and be like, hey, I'm writing a book. I have a character that's like XYZ. I'm not going to go into any specifics. Like I want you to read this line said by them, and they'll either accept it gladly because they like the line, or they'll decline, or maybe like do it for like I don't know $50. And that's also a really good way to like determine like who would be a best fit for your character. And you could probably even do it with like smaller voice actors, because like many people have seen the videos of like I paid a voice actor to read some stupid lines for me, and it's like some kind of like weeaboo lolly girl reading like Solid Snake
Yeah,
line.
I know what kind of things you're talking about. I've seen those videos.
Yeah,
There's some energy that they invoke inside of me whenever I hear that high pitched anime girl lolly tiny little bitch voice that I just can't talk about. But we'll
I
talk about
Lust.
my
agree with
emotions
you.
later.
I think it's lust.
What's last? My emotions? No, I am a very emotional man, you see. And
You
when
don't
I get
sound like
emotional, you don't want to see me. You understand? You understand that?
Avion. Why don't you become a voice actor?
Well, I was considering it to some degree, but I'm not really sure if I would fit that because honestly, I don't know why I think that. I probably would fit that. I don't know if just with a little bit of practice.
Yeah, I used to do it back in the day when I was like younger,
I imagined
but
like, mhm.
I just stopped because my voice got fucked up. So I make other people do it for me, and I judge them.
See, my voice
I
didn't
think
get fucked up. I'm lucky.
thinking like the thinking like the earlier eras of like video game voice acting in like the 2000s,
Hmm.
when discs made voice acting possible. There are a lot of people who are just picked up randomly and
Hello,
never performed ever again, and I think that's kind of sad. because they just get like one role once upon a time and then they're gone.
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't even know. We only have their name, so we don't know what they look like or what they're doing now. So they're just like lost to time.
And sometimes you
Possible
can't
to
even
track
find
down.
that. Yeah. Honestly, I think so. Back when I didn't know what I was doing with my life or with my project specifically, before I ever came up with the idea of like writing a novel or two, I sort of thought of like making like a game or making like an anime. I don't know why I thought that. That was like the dumbest idea I've ever come up with. But a way that I wanted to find voice actors for it was like going around like voice acting communities or like comic dub communities and like giving them a few comics that cater to what the mainstream wants, which is like romance, sex, and death, and robots. If I want to be clear here,
Sex.
and being like, hey, do you want to like do a comic dub so I can like get the cadence of these voices, like these characters' voices, and like figure out what they fucking sound like, but that's sort of like a shoddy deal because some people could like decline or maybe they'd expect payment, and honestly like I just want them to do it for fun. That's the cheapskate life of a creator, guys. You gotta pay attention to that. You gotta find people who do your shit for free.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention not to pay.
Yeah, there's like
Give them an exposure.
exactly.
Oh no, please don't mention that. That's not payment. That's basically cheating. It's like
Not gonna lie, if somebody wanted to publish my book for exposure, I would let them do it. Like if they can get those thousands of readers, I'll let them do it.
Yeah, but there's a difference if you want it, and a difference when you're paid an exposure because they don't have any money to give you.
True. But I digress. Like there's tons of ways that like you could find voice actors that aren't like the core 20 to 50. I expand that horizon because there's a bunch of like popular voice actors that I don't know the existence of yet. And like a lot of people don't really realize like, yo, there's a fuck ton of potential out here. And it's sort of like not as much of a like fruition sort of thing as like maybe going through Instagram and like going through the hashtag like commissions open to find like an artist. What I used to do was I would just go onto YouTube because I know a lot of people post their like demo reels, which is like an amazing idea, and I would look up like voice actor, like freelance voice actor, and from there I would literally save videos, put them in like a playlist, and I would just make notes, and like a lot of them do expect payment, which sucks. No offense, like I would support you if I could, but I can't. And like I don't know. The job's a lot easier than people like to make it out to be. And I actually someday whenever I am rich and famous and in the 1% like Elon Musk, I want to have an audiobook of my novel, but rather than like it's just one narrator, I have people voicing all of the characters. Like different.
Oh yes. Oh, I actually didn't listen to that many audiobooks, so I can't tell whether people like do this often or not. But I absolutely agree with that idea. I think that like having different voice actors with different characters in a book could give us a lot of depth. Like,
Yeah, and like I I don't have any like anecdotal or like statistical evidence for this, but like thinking in a pseudologically like idea, it could give people a bit of a connection, I guess. Like not a lot of people read audiobooks, not a lot of people read books, but I think in terms of like ingestion, if that's going to be the word of the day, like they would rather listen to something and take in the information like that and instead of like reading on a screen. And I think whenever there's like different voice actors like voicing the characters, you sort of like become connected to them. And so, like, if all of a sudden within this midst of like female voices, you hear this one man voice, you're like, "Hey, that's my dude, Big Dick Johnson," and like it connects the reader to the work, and that's something I kind of want to do. And also just because I want to hear like the dumb dialogue in my book be read out, because like Avion's read it before. There's a lot of stupid lines in there, like lines that are like kind of deep, and you kind of want to hear someone say it so that it gets the like impact.
What?
But that might take a while.
I'm sorry, I was listening, I swear, but something just went out over my head. Could you please repeat that? Not the whole conversation, just the last few bits you said about me.
I said there's certain lines that like either have like a dumb cadence to them, or that like have like a sort of deep meaning that would be better like conveyed if it was said verbally. That like I know you've read before because you're the one who edits my book.
Yeah.
But like I kind of hear someone just say that.
Oh.
Like, yeah, considering the book does have a lot of dialogue, which like is sort of not what I wanted to do, but like I can't really stop myself anymore because I don't know, it just knows the story really well.
I know that feeling, When I wrote my shit, I was like, actually, I kind of switched it to like a drama format or something because it just fit much better, like a scenic play or something. It was not exactly that. Yeah, what?
A musical?
I can't music. Not in this way. Not in this way. I don't understand how to type out the musical notations or something. I'm fairly confident I can make some music, but either way, my point was that I like kind of adapted my writing style to be like kind of like the style you would use for writing plays, but also not really. So it ended up being really messy, really stupid looking, really incomprehensible.
Like a script?
But yeah, that's the word. Except for it was more like a butchered version of a book that was a pseudo script and had a narrator at once, and it just sucked. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I'm just talking about it right now. But you have to understand, I moved on from that phase. I am no longer writing shit.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yeah, the comic is a different story. Like, actually, at the end of this podcast, you could, like, promote your own book here. Because fuck yeah.
I was thinking of ending it soon, if you wouldn't mind, because I think I'm out of stuff to say, and this is creeping up to be, like, the second longest podcast, I think.
It's just an hour long. What, did I say something stupid? I pointed out the fact that it's an hour long. To be exact, an hour and 30 minutes and 36 seconds long. And
that's enough time for a movie. Next time, we're gonna make a movie.
Short movie, yeah.
Yeah, we could animate this podcast.
I was thinking it might be neat if I just have a podcast where it's just me. If Avion can't make it, if there's no guests, it's just me. I think I could carry one on my own. It'd be very different, but that would be something.
You edit these anyway, so I don't think there would be that much of a difference in terms of like edits. There would just be nobody else. You would be talking to yourself, you little lonely boy.
Yeah, I know there are people who manage to do like daily podcasts, and it's just hour long of like stuff that's happening, just news, and I don't know how they do that. I can't think of an hour of news every day. I guess that's because they're constantly involved in the news.
Sad.
Oh.
What?
Do we wrap this up then?
Oh, we could, sure. I mean, we have a lot of material. Yeah, I think that's a good reason.
Yes.
We could always talk about more
Okay.
stuff, but
Feel free to plug your stuff, and then
yeah.
I will
Do
the
it.
chairs, turn off the lights, and lock the door.
Do it. We need the views from your book.
Okay.
If you plug your shit here, we are giving us views. This is a perfect trade.
Well, yeah. I'm forgetting the link. I apologize.
Yeah, you can just give the link. Don't worry about it. Put it in the description.
Let me grab that link, sir.
What? I think you're being cut off a little here.
It's fine.
Fuck.
The link.
Anyways.
So the link to the new book will be in the description, and then, as always, Avion's comic will be in the description as well.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Excellent.
There it is. Go read it. It's good. It has women and men and robots.
I mostly care about
All
women.
good books.
At the time of this recording, I'm writing chapter 10, but I'm procrastinating on it.
Yeah, expect a chapter very soon. And don't worry about
Dude.
me being lazy. It's not my fault when I'm slow.
2 chapters, actually.
2? Oh, geez. Why are you multitasking? So
No.
before we end this, how do I read this? Ciel going?
Ciel?
Ciel?
Yes.
Ciel,
It's French
okay.
for heaven.
I fucking hate different languages. The only true language is English, and if you disagree, I will personally move on.
So, for a little bit of background, I can't reveal too much, but it's basically about purgatory. That's all I'm going to say. I'm currently doing the concept art. I have all but 2 characters done, so that means like 13 out of 15. And the first chapter should be released sometime before I have my birthday, but I can't promise that because I am doing way too much. That's it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So that should be the podcast for today. It's a beautiful day outside for me, so I'm probably going to go outside while I can.
Fuck.
Goodbye.
It's night here.
Goodbye. Thank you for having me.
And we are concluding. And now I can press the stop record button. Like right now. In 3, 2, 1, stopped.